Hi everybody, it's Laura from Lawrence Branch, and I'm going to do another tote bag segment. You may have seen this other video that I did about a month ago. If not, go ahead back and watch it. In that one, I give you ideas for 3 different tote bags and using polypro bags. And if you look at that one or go to the end of the credits, you'll see all the informational sections that I give you on what the recycle bags are made of. So I'm going to do a few more for you today. And the first one is just this, a plain store-bought bag that I've had. I've used it a few times. Beautiful color pink, but a bit much, I think. So what I did was I got out my acrylic paints and I wanted to add a few extra colors. So it had a little coating. It's almost like a coated canvas, coated cotton. I'm not sure which. It's not a recycle bag at all. And I just used a very fine paintbrush. And I added the green, the blue, and the other pastel colors. And that's it, so simple. See, this is what it looked like in the beginning. I may actually go back and do that second side. For this next bag, I wanted to do something where I could carry around nice pictures of our friends. And a little more than a month ago, it was March 24th, I made myself a nice anthology, photo mosaic, if you will, of all of the best times that I've had with my friends over the past who knows how long. And I sent it out to everybody, and this is when we weren't able to see anybody at all. And so it was a big hit with everybody. And so what I decided was I would update one of my tote bags with that set of pictures. And I don't have a color printer, so I decided to do it in black and white. And it's the same bag that I used in my other video, and I've done nothing with it, but I have been carrying it. Actually, I've been carrying my craft stuff around in it. So what I did was I printed out 3 different copies of that set of mosaics, all in black and white, and I measured, so I centered the one, and then I figured out where I needed to cut, so it's the same one that repeats on the left and the right. And so obviously we've all seen that you can buy these, you can send away for them, have it imprinted right on it. You can even buy your own ironing paper and do it yourself. This is just printed out on plain paper, and I cut it. And there's a couple of the extra sheets that were left after I cut around. And so what I will say is the less corners that you have, the better. So everywhere I had an edge, I really had to go back and make sure I glued it on well with my white glue. And then I sprayed it with sealer finisher, like I always do. It got a little bit darker when I did that. And it's perfect. And so I'm going to enjoy carrying this around, and it's not going to last forever. You know, I could always make another one if it doesn't last, but so far so good. And for this next one, it's very similar to that other photo array. This is a different bag, a used bag. You can see that it's got Star Wars pictures inside. I just flipped it inside out, so it was white. And I long while ago, I had already cropped all of these pictures. It's my husband's grandmother, our Omi. She's no longer with us. We miss her very much. And so I kind of had all of the work of the photos done already. But these are pictures in Germany from the 1920s to the 1940s. So it was the same idea as that other one. It's all in one picture. I cut around the edges and I glued it on, again, paying close attention to my edges, and then I gave it the usual coat of sealer finisher. And then for the other side, I decided that I wanted to, you see I've got our German steins here. I wanted to see if I could do rubbings of them with crayon, and turns out that yes, you can. So what I did was, here, there's flour on here, you see. I just had plain old white paper, and I grabbed a crayon, and I decided to see some of them come out better than others, but watch while I do this. Hold it on and don't move it. Go ahead and rub. And so you see how you get the detail. And it just kind of gives a hint of Germanness to the back of this. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, I think these 5, I got different pictures from them. And I tried it at first in pencil, and it just wasn't the effect that I wanted. So when I got done with the rubbings, this is what it looked like. So again, in this case, I used this vellum paper that I have. And so it's opaque, you can kind of see through it a little bit. I used my spray glue and I laid it over top of the rubbing pictures. And that's what it looked like this, which I thought just looked a little bit too crayon-y. So in order to muddle it even more, I got out a makeup sponge and my acrylic paints in different colors, and I just kind of added them, and I was trying to muddle the fact that it was the rubbing, so you kind of still get a hint of the rubbings underneath, but it looks almost just like a little watercolor. And then I gave that one also a spray of my sealer finisher, and I think that one's kind of neat. And this last one is my favorite this time. This is an old Disney bag, and I think we had 2 or 3 just the same. A polypro bag. I turned it inside out, and then I was left with white where you could still kind of see that Disney imprint through it. So I painted it with acrylic paint and a gold, I think it was not the gold, one of these. I think it was this one. And so that it was very, it absorbed a lot of paint, and it took a long time to dry, almost 24 hours. So this morning when it was dry, I went out and I went to one of our trees out back, and I thought it would be nice to try to do a print with this pine bough. I'll show you pictures of where I got the idea afterward. So I painted each side in a different color. The one was in the blue, and the other was in that gold. And so the first one that I did the print was this color. And what I did was, this is not the one that I used, but I simply got out paint and I got my colors and I painted right on the needles. As many layers as I could, and I added as much as I could to the actual branch. Then I laid it down on here. and you want to be careful not to move it. You're going to lay it down once and you're going to leave it there. So I laid it down, and then you'll see in my pictures I had a can of ravioli. I'm going to use this for now. And I simply held my hand and I rubbed as if it was a brayer, and I pressed and pressed and pressed and pressed. And when I lifted it up, it looked almost like this. What I did was, to give it a little more definition, I had some of my needles and a Q-tip, and I added only one needle at a time. Got my paints back out, and I used a Q-tip and I painted it individually, and then I laid it down on here in the right direction, and I just kind of moved it with my finger, pressed it down. And so that's how I got a few more of the needles to be defined. And then also, while I was out there this morning, I collected the small pine cones that are closed. And what I did for those is I selected the colors that I wanted. Got a thick paintbrush. I painted the acrylic paint right on the pine cone. And then I leaned it, rolled it ever so slightly. And you need to load up your pine cone with paint every single time you lay it down. You can mix colors, you can layer them. And then again, after this dried out on the porch, I gave it a coat of sealer finisher. And the other side had that gold background, and I used 100% of the prints from the pine cones. And again, you can mix your paints, and if you go over it while it's still wet, they are going to mix together. So you just want to reload your pine cone with paint every single time, and keep turning it around so that they're not all in the same direction. And this one looks a little bit Christmassy, I think, on account of the green that I used and the red. So you could do this in any colors that you want. I think, yeah, out of all of this one is my favorite out of all of these. And this was my first experience with a plant print that was quite that large, and it was a lot of fun to do. So there you have one, two with two sides. Make yourself a nice bag with photos of your family and or friends. Or you could use a store-bought bag and simply embellish it. I had fun with all of these. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again another time.